Welcome to the Daily Reflection for Monday, December 23rd. Today's Gospel reading for the Daily Mass comes to us from the first chapter of St. Luke's Gospel. It reads, When the time arrived for Elizabeth to have her child, she gave birth to a son. Her neighbors and relatives heard that the Lord had shown his great mercy toward her, and they rejoiced with her. When they came on the 8th day to circumcise the child, they were going to call him Zachariah after his father, but his mother said in reply, No, he will be called John. But they answered her, There is no one among your relatives who has this name. So they made signs asking his father what he wished him to be called. He asked for a tablet and wrote, John is his name. And all were amazed. Immediately his mouth was opened, his tongue freed, and he spoke, blessing God. Then fear came upon all their neighbors, and all these matters were discussed throughout the hill country of Judea. All who heard these things took them to heart, saying, What then will this child be? For surely the hand of the Lord was with him. Most of us have experienced in our lives the joy and excitement around the birth of a child, including the naming of the child by his or her parents. So this excitement around the birth of St. John the Baptist to his elderly parents was a special time for this community in the hill country of Judea. But again, as we described, even more amazement and astonishment came when St. Elizabeth and Zachariah go against the naming conventions at the time, and they give this child the name that was literally pronounced by the angel Gabriel, the name that was chosen by God for St. John the Baptist. So they were just fulfilling God's will as God desired them to give birth to this son who would be the forerunner of the Christ. But again, they just brought tremendous amazement to their neighbors and friends who, again, did not know fully what the role of John the Baptist was, but they knew that he was special and the hand of the Lord was with him. So I think in these final moments before the celebration of Christmas, we hopefully can have the same amazement and excitement that these neighbors had around the birth of St. John the Baptist, because there's always, every Christmas, this opportunity to see what is the birth of Christ going to do with our hearts. How are we going to be transformed? How are we going to be changed? And maybe part of you, or some of you, I should say, and maybe part of us as we reflect upon our lives, this Advent hasn't been that great. Or we had many great intentions, but where did the last 22 days go? So no matter where you find yourselves at this point, I think we can just truly use these last moments to say, Lord, allow me to have the excitement, the amazement, the joy around the birth of Christ that we honor at Christmas. And then see where that leads you in your lives. Maybe it just means more simply that we can just enjoy this celebration with renewed vigor. Maybe we won't go as much through the motions. Maybe we can pray earnestly that, I didn't do well this Advent season, but during these few days of the Christmas season, I'm really going to put in my time of prayer and service to others, whatever it may be. A birth of a child can change everything. And again, maybe there's even other things that are in store for us this Christmas that we can see as amazing signs. Again, not as dramatic as maybe a man who was mute speaking to us about God's blessing in his lives, but who knows? What's required of us now is that wherever we are going after Christmas has to first begin with this acceptance that the birth of Christ is coming, God's grace is with us, And if we have hearts and minds that are open, joy and excitement and blessings can be ours. And there may even be a few accompanying signs that can make this Christmas even more special and filled with blessings. Thanks for listening, and have a blessed day.